Guys, I use Virtual Shield VPN every single day on my phone and my laptop because anytime I'm online, I want to hide my identity, my activity, and my location. And you can try it for free for 30 days, plus get 30% off by using the link in the description.
Common sense and morality dictates that if you outlaw guns, only outlaws will have guns. And that's exactly what Justin Trudeau did today in Canada. He outlawed guns and empowered criminals. When you make laws, anti-gun laws, you're literally empowering criminals and governments and creating victims out of a whole slew of people. Listen to this.
École Polytechnique, Mayerthorpe, Dawson College, Moncton, La Loche.
So what he's doing is going through a list of supposed, alleged mass shootings. Could they be false events? Sure they could be. But he's kind of taking a page from the playbook of this right here.
Columbine,
Virginia Tech,
Tucson,
Aurora,
Let's just toggle this.
La Grande Mosquée de Québec,
Fort Hood, Oak Creek,
the Danforth,
Newtown,
Fredericton,
Newtown,
Newtown.
Newtown.
and Cumberland, Colchester, and Hants counties, Nova Scotia.
How many more?
How many more? How many more colleges?
Now, before we get back to Justin Gun Grabber Trudeau, I just wanted to read this right here real quick. And listen to the wording. Listen to the psychological operations wording. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau unveiled his government's ban on military-style assault rifles on Friday. Well, first of all, there's no such thing as a military-style assault rifle. If there are assault rifles, then there have to be assault hammers, pens, chainsaws. On Friday, fulfilling an election process in the wake of a mass shooting in Nova Scotia 2 weeks ago that killed 22 people. According to this article right here, what killed 22 people? A madman killed 22 people? Nope. A mass shooting killed 22 people. See how they kind of detach the humanity from it and try to anthropomorphize an event, or they try to animate an inanimate object and they try to criminalize and vilify it? That's exactly what they're doing, guys. They're trying to get people scared of the weapons themselves. And before we go back to Justin Trudeau, let me just give you a real quick pop quiz. What was the largest mass shooting on American soil so far to date? Who committed it? Who perpetrated the largest mass shooting on American soil? Oh, that's right. It was the U.S. government. S. Hook, the deadliest school shooting in U.S. history? I think not. In 1890, the U.S. government shot and killed over 290 unarmed Indians at school, including over 200 women and children. How quickly we forget. If you give up your guns, you're basically giving up your freedom and you're laying down underneath the boot of tyranny. And that's exactly what Justin Trudeau is doing right here. He's laying down his boot of tyranny. He's saying, you Canadians can't have guns, but me and my heavily armed security force that surrounds me 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, they can have guns. Not only can they have guns, they can have military-style assault rifles so that I'm protected, but you're not. And all the criminals are going, amen, Justin. Woohoo, yes! This is awesome because we don't obey laws. Criminals don't obey laws, guys. This is basically a criminal empowerment, victim creation proposition in action right here.
These tragedies reverberate still.
He's such an actor, man. He's like, you know what? It worked for the celebrities, and I feel like I'm kind of a celebrity myself. So I'm gonna do what the stars do.
How many more classrooms?
How many more movie theaters?
How many more houses of faith?
Let's see if Justin's going along that same lines there.
They shape our identity. They stain our conscience. They make adults out of children. And the heartbreaking truth is they're happening more often than they once did. With each passing year, more families are ripped apart by tragedy. More parents are...
They're not ripped apart by tragedy. They're ripped apart by madmen And the only logical answer to that is make sure your people are armed and they know how to use their firearms so that when, not if, when a madman arrives on the scene with a gun, they can take him out and take him down quickly.
Struggling to explain the inexplicable to their kids. And more teenagers are growing up in a world where gun violence is normalized.
Well, governments normalize quote-unquote gun violence every single day. And besides that, that's another euphemism. There's no such thing as gun violence. Inanimate objects don't commit violence, but they want you to think they do, and they want you to be scared of them. And a lot of people will look at Justin Trudeau, and even though they know in their minds and in their hearts that politicians are psychopathic, parasitic liars, and they can do nothing but lie, they'll still give their rights over to these charlatans.
It needs to stop.
How many more shopping malls?
How many more street corners?
How many more?
How many more?
Enough.
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 Demand a plan.
It needs to stop. Demand a plan. Enough. Villainize and vilify inanimate objects. They're scary. They're black. They're military grade. And they only belong on the battlefield.
Last week, 22 Canadians were killed in the deadliest rampage in our country's history.
By whom? If that's true, that's reported. Let's just say it's true. They were killed by whom? Not by what. Who were they killed by? A madman who decided to use a gun in an evil manner. What's the remedy? The remedy is a good guy or a good woman on the scene ready to take that guy down. Why? Because when seconds count, police are minutes away, and that means police are worthless. That means we need to empower ourselves, not to have some political charlatan create victims of an entire country.
They were nurses and teachers, correctional officers and RCMP officers.
That's irrelevant. They were human beings, and if the story's true, they died because a madman misused a tool. A tool that Justin Trudeau is now going to rip from the hands of every peaceful human being in Canada against their will and without their consent. And how are you going to do that, Justin? Now, you say you're against gun violence. Let's put that to the test. What if some Canadians go, you know what, screw you. I'm not a criminal, and you don't have a right to take my property. What are you going to do, Justin? Oh, that's right. You're going to send men with guns to their houses and point those weapons in peaceful faces, and you're going to steal their property or you're going to pull the trigger. So you're actually for gun violence, but you say you're not. See, when you hear anybody say, when a human being says, I'm going to ban that, you're not allowed to have that. And if you do pick that up, if you do keep that in your possession, even though you've done nothing wrong, you have not committed a crime against anybody. You haven't stolen it from anybody. You haven't hit anybody over the head for it. You haven't done anything wrong, but a government official like Justin Trudeau doesn't have a problem with doing things wrong by approaching an innocent, peaceful person and taking their property. That's what's going on here.
They were someone's child, someone's best friend, someone's partner.
And you, political parasite, do not care because you are a charlatan and you are acting in the position of a criminal, taking the guns of peaceful people who just want to keep them and protect themselves. And it's none of your business what they're going to use them for.
Their families deserve more than thoughts and prayers.
Yeah, their families deserved to be armed and trained with those firearms so that they could be ready to take down the threat when, not if it comes.
Canadians deserve more than thoughts and prayers.
Yeah, they deserve firearms to be able to protect themselves so that they can have a personal protection device when the evil comes through the door.
Right now. As a mom.
As a dad. As a friend. As a husband.
As a husband who wants to protect his family. As a woman, as a single mother who wants to protect her children when she's home at night. And she wants to use an AK-47 or an AR-15. Heck, if she was out in the country and she wanted to use an RPG because a whole gang of thugs wanted to come against her, she can have that because she's a human being. And no other human being has a higher claim over her life and property than she does. If she has property that includes within it tens of thousands of rounds of ammunition, it is nobody's business.
Today, we are closing the market for military-grade assault weapons in Canada.
Let me give you the translation on that. Today, we are committing a criminal act against all the people of Canada. Canadians, rise up. Don't lay down on this one.
We are banning 1,500 models and variants of these.
And we're going to use gun violence to implement our evil plans.
Firearms by way of regulations. These weapons were designed for one purpose and one purpose only: to kill the largest number of people in the shortest amount of time.
And we reserve for ourselves the right to be the sole owners of such weapons, but you can't have them.
There is no use and no place for such weapons in Canada.
Well, thank you for your opinion. You're wrong, and we're going to keep our property. Thank you very much.
For many families, including many Indigenous people, firearms are part of traditions passed down through generations, and the vast majority of gun owners use them safely, responsibly, and in accordance with the law.
So right there, he's admitting that he's committing a crime. The vast majority of Canadians aren't committing crimes with their firearms, but guess what? We're going to commit a criminal act against them, and we're going to take their property that they're not committing crimes with, because a few madmen decided to commit crimes and do irresponsible things with their firearms.
Whether it be for work, sport shooting, for collecting, or for hunting. But you don't need an AR-15 to bring down a deer.
What if somebody does need an AR-15 to bring down a deer? What if somebody says, it doesn't matter if you think I need an AR-15 or not. I'm going to have one, and you don't have any say in my life. I'm a free person. You don't have a higher claim over my life and property than me. Are you saying you do, Justin? Are you saying you do have a higher claim over the life and property of other people? Because if you're saying that, just go ahead and come out with it. Come out with it. If you're saying that you have the right to initiate unjust force and violence on peaceful people who haven't done anything wrong, here, just, come on. Don't cover it all up with all these euphemisms, emotionalism, lies, fear-mongering, and all this other crap, trying to act like a Hollywood weirdo, taking our guns.
As a wife.
As an American.
As an American.
As an American.
As a human being.
For the children of Sandy Hook.
Demand a plan. No more lists of names. It's not too soon.
It's too late.
Now
If you don't want a list of names, then put firearms in the hands of regular people. Show them how to use them and watch crime drop.
So, effective immediately, it is no longer permitted to buy, sell, transport, import, or use military-grade assault weapons in this country.
And so what did he just do right there? In one fell swoop, boom, by executive action, he created a whole country of criminals. Justin Trudeau views you, if you own any one of these weapons that they say you can't have, views you as a criminal, views you as the enemy, and he's coming against you. The question is, are you going to consider yourself an enemy? Are you going to consider yourself a criminal? Or are you going to look at reality? The reality is the criminal is this guy right here, standing in front of these Canadian flags. He's the guy who's the criminal. He's the guy who is initiating unjust force and violence on peaceful people who haven't done anything wrong. He's the guy who's actually operating as a criminally minded psychopath by basically pointing a government gun at your face and saying you can't have these scary black AR-15 assault style military grade rifles.
To protect law-abiding gun owners from criminal liability until they can take steps to comply with this new law, there will be a 2-year amnesty period, and we will legislate fair compensation.
Rise up, Canadians. Rise up. Gun buyback program, that's confiscation. You don't have a choice. Don't give away any more of your freedoms. As a matter of fact, the freedoms that you lost, take them back. Let's look at this one more thing here.
We are today ending the availability of weapons that were not designed for hunting or
how about, no, you're not. No, you're not. Stand together, guys. Stand together. Put down your differences just this once and stand together. Stay empowered. You know as well as I do, criminals out there are licking their chops, man. They're going, God, the break-ins are going to increase, guys, because they know you're going to give up your weapons. They'll be stationed outside of houses. They'll watch you bring your weapons to police stations. Criminals are smart, man. They're opportunists. And by the way, politicians work in tandem with criminals. When politicians make laws, criminals get empowered, and regular people who obey those laws become the victims.
For target shooting. They were rather designed for soldiers to kill other soldiers. And while
That's a pretty incriminating statement right there. Well, what we designed these for poor soldiers to kill other poor soldiers in rich men's wars. Oh, but, maybe we shouldn't have wrote that in there. We don't want people to know that all wars are banker wars, and we fight over oil and to commandeer resources and to take things that don't belong to us. Page two.
while I appreciate that some may feel that these weapons have some recreational value, the tragic reality is that these weapons were designed to kill people and have been used to kill innocent Canadians. Public safety must always be our first priority.
If they were concerned about public safety, then they would want the public to be armed. But because they're not concerned about public safety, and by the way, public safety is just another euphemism for public control. They're trying to control you. They don't care if you're safe. They don't care if you're poor. They just want to control you. They want to make sure you're ignorant, stupid, and controllable. And that's why they're coming at you with safety. Because they believe, they think that you believe that the government is there to keep them safe. And for the most part, a lot of people are. A lot of people will go, I'm just going to turn my mind off and hand the keys over to the government because they believe in me. They love me. And they want to protect me. They want to keep me safe. No, they want to control you.
And these powerful firearms become deadly weapons when they fall into the wrong hands.
That's why the answer is to have these powerful, quote unquote, deadly weapons in the right hands. And because most people do the right thing with their firearms, all you have to do is take care of if somebody misuses their rights and takes the life of another person, it only makes sense that the only person who should be punished is that person that did what was evil.
Protecting human life must come above all else. These guns have no legitimate civilian purpose. They don't belong in our communities. We are today.
If they don't belong in our communities, then why the heck are they in our communities in the hands of law enforcement and military? In recent history, guess what the biggest mass murder event was on American soil? Who was it perpetrated by? Oh, that's right. That one right there was perpetrated by the government as well. Look at this. The incident began, this Waco siege. The incident began when the ATF attempted to serve a search and arrest warrant on the ranch. An intense gunfight erupted, resulting in the deaths of 4 government agents and 6 Branch Davidians. Upon the ATF's entering of the property and failure to execute the search warrant, a siege lasted 51 frickin' days and was initiated by who? By the Federal Bureau of Investigation. The 51-day siege, the crime was initiated by the FBI. Eventually, the FBI launched an assault and initiated a tear gas attack in an attempt to force the Branch Davidians out of the ranch. They were on their own property, minding their own business, not harming or threatening to harm anybody. They just didn't like the fact that they had a stockpile of weapons, which is perfectly within your right as a human being to have, and it's nobody else's business. Shortly thereafter, the Mount Carmel Center quickly became engulfed in flames. Why do you think that is? Because the government burned them out, burned their buildings down, and burned a whole bunch of bodies in the process. The fire resulted in the deaths of 76 Branch Davidians, including 25 children, 2 pregnant women, and David Koresh. The government killed 25 children. Let that sink in. The government killed 25 children. And the government, that same U.S. government, the same, whatever your government you have, the Canadian government, the Mexican government, they want control over you. And they know the way to get control is to promise you safety and security so you can give up more rights. Don't give up rights. If you give up rights, you give up your life. Don't give up your personal protection devices. Canadians, whatever you do, do not put yourself in the position where you're going to look back in a year, 2 years, 10 years and go, oh my God, we didn't learn from history and we repeated it. Leave your thoughts about this for the world and the Google Thought Police in the comment section below. And I'll see you guys in the next heavily censored shadow ban video.